Hello, hello. We are live. So, hello, I am Morgan Stradling with the Rotoscopers from the Animation Addicts podcast. And I just have a lot on my mind. And I'm going to be recording an episode later. And so I thought, you know what? Let's get all the wiggles out. Let's go live. And so I decided to talk about a few things with you guys. So I didn't announce this. I'm sure no one's joining, but if you are, let me know in the chat. But what I really wanted to talk about was the box office because I have been seeing a ton of movies recently and I just have this excitement to go to the theater, which I feel is not just me. I feel like a lot more people are excited to go to the theater again and to get out and have these in-person events where for a few years ago, we were very much stuck in our homes. So what I wanted to do first was to bring up this article and talk about it, which is this. So I thought this was phenomenal that May had its first $1 billion box office without Marvel in this past May, which we're scrolling down. We're going to look at it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Things are not doing what I want them to do. Hold on a second. Live problems. It's been a while since I've been live, but we'll go with it. So it had a few films that helped it, reach that $1 billion milestone. But the first one, obviously, was Michael. Michael did $210 million in May. Then we had The Devil Wears Prada 2, which barely 209. The Mandalorian Grogu had a really big opening weekend, this isn't the whole opening weekend, but 137 million. Then we had Obsession do 104.7 million, and Backrooms had 81 million. Now, these are all just in May. So a lot of these films are still going gangbuster and doing phenomenally well. But these 5 films were really the different films that really helped to make the box office what it was. And so I wanted to show the box office. I'm going here to Box Office Mojo. And if we're looking at, okay, so this is worldwide total. This is domestic total, worldwide total. I want to look at the monthly total. So let's look at the monthly total and go back to May. All right. So here we go. In 2026, the cumulative, or here, let me make it a little bigger for everybody. But the cumulative gross was 1.063 billion, which is phenomenal. And the number one release during that month, obviously, we just talked about was Michael. Now, we're going back. We haven't had this since 2019. In 2019, it was pretty close. And that had a Marvel film in it, which helped to bump it. So I wanted to go back and look at, let's see. Hold on. We got some people. If you're in the chat, let me know. But let's see. All right. So we're beating the 2018 box office, which is crazy because talking with people, there's some people who say theaters are dead. You're never coming back. It's never going to be like that again. And this just goes to show that people are dying to go back to theaters again, but they just want good movies. We need good movies. We have standards, right? So 2020, oh gosh, 2020 box office didn't even hit 1 million in the box office. Obviously, we know why. And going back 2021, it was able to climb to about $250 million. And we've been it's interesting. Wow, 2024. Wow, we got for the 2022, 2023, we had about $750 million. That's 775 million. Something happened in 2024 where people just were not showing up in May. Last year, it almost hit $1 billion again, but didn't quite reach that. So yeah, and I'm just really excited. Like I have been going to the theaters more than I ever have on my own accord, not going to press screenings or whatnot, just like taking myself to go to the theater or taking my family to go to the theater. It brings me so much joy and I'm really happy. We have comment. Thank you, Jeremiah. Hey, Morgan, I love the Digital Circus. Very cool. Opened at number 1 and stayed in the top 5 despite some big contenders. This is a big moment for independent animation. Excellent. Let's switch over to this past weekend's box office because I want to talk about, where we think the summer's going and obviously animation playing a part in it. So let's go to last weekend's box office. And this was phenomenal. The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act. Now, I haven't seen this. This is what I've heard. And correct me, chat, if I'm wrong. It started on YouTube, and someone mentioned that it's on Netflix. But this is basically the series the series finale. It's like 2 episodes they put together and packaged into a movie, and it did number 5. So it did $12.363 million. But if you click on it, what I think is phenomenal about this one is Thursday, it was the number one movie for the whole weekend, and it did $7.8 million. There are fandoms, and they will show up. People are excited. I was talking to someone. I went to an event on Saturday, just like a little family thing, friends, and she mentioned, I don't know how it came up, because this is not the type of person who would be into this sort of movie at all. She's like, yeah, I think there's this movie coming out. And I was like, oh yeah, Digital Circus. She's like, yeah, because there were a bunch of kids in my neighborhood that were dressed up. And I'm like, why are they dressed up? This isn't Halloween. And apparently people are going all out and they're dressing up kind of in circus attire, which is pretty cool, pretty fun. So yeah, so, the Digital Circus, the Amazing Digital Circus, the last act, it took number one spot on Thursday. Obviously, all the fans were showing up. They were there. And then it consistently was number 5, doing 4 million, 4.7 million, and 3.3 on the Sunday. So going back to that weekend, just to see, this past weekend, we had Scary Movie at $54 million, Master of the Universe at $29 million, Backrooms, $26 million, Obsession, $25 million. Now, Backrooms and Obsession, these films they have legs. And I love it because they are continually growing and getting stronger and stronger. One of them is Backrooms is an independent film, which A24 bought it. And it's just doing crazy if you see where its total gross is right now. And these numbers are domestic gross. It's done $135 million in those 2 weeks. So yeah, and an interesting one is Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu has not done very well. People are not showing up for Star Wars anymore. Disney really hurt themselves by making Star Wars, instead of it being this go-to event every few years, just to make it something that's constantly on the TV and you're constantly having new seasons. And by constantly, I mean every few years, because we know how digital seasons work. You're not going to get a new season for a few years down the road. But it just, there was too much Star Wars all around. And, having to keep up on the shows and on some of the cartoons and then show up to these movies, it made it difficult for people, and people just sort of checked out. And I think that's what we're seeing with Star Wars. If we go back to Star Wars, we look where that one is at. We have, it did fine for, number one for basically the first week, and then it hasn't been able to climb back up. It couldn't even hold it through the Wednesday of its first week released. Sorry, I need to make this bigger for everybody. 33 million on that first day. But yeah, and now it's really, really going down where, this is a Tuesday number, but we'll see how this weekend does. But last weekend we were able to see it was doing 2, 4, 3 million. Not good for Star Wars. And I haven't seen it yet. And I've just heard it's kind of a kiddie movie. Like, you could take your family to this and it's fine. It just kind of feels like an extended episode. It's fun. If you like The Mandalorian, you'll like it. Grogu obviously came back after they couldn't keep him away. So they brought him back, even though he was supposed to go with Luke off into the sunsets. But yeah, okay. So let's go back. So we were talking about last weekend, Masters of the Universe. So Chelsea and I are going to be recording an episode, and I have seen Michael 3 times in theaters, which is just so out of character for me. I will see movies in theaters, but it's very rare that I'll see a movie again in theaters. And I've seen this 3 times and I want to see it again. I want them to release a sing-along version, because I just think that would be phenomenal. It kind of is. You've seen some clips online and people are singing, they're dancing, they're standing up. What I love about Michael, and I'll save this for my review with Chelsea when I do that, but it's a musical film, and it's a concert film, and it's a biopic, but it really grows in the last section of the movie, where you're just getting all these really big musical numbers back to back to back. And it's not short ones. They don't just play a little part of it and then fade out or whatnot. Like, you're getting the full song. And it ends just on this really, really high. Now, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but there's going to be another movie. But it is, it's so good. You leave Michael and you're just on a high, and you want to go listen to music. I have gone down many a Michael Jackson rabbit hole. I feel like I went from being just like a Michael Jackson fan, like, yeah, I like Michael Jackson music and I know various things about him, and, bought CDs, whatnot, to level, I wouldn't say S tier Michael Jackson fan, but definitely, I would say A tier, B tier, at least on my general knowledge that I've been able to have over the past few months, learning all about Michael and listening to his music and watching every single clip that I possibly can. So this movie, this is an updated, but I think as of yesterday or day or two ago, it finally crossed the 900 million mark. And this is expected. It did, just yesterday, it passed, what is the other one? The Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody. It just passed Bohemian Rhapsody as the highest grossing biopic. So Bohemian Rhapsody had $903 million. And just the other day, Michael crossed 904. And this movie hasn't even opened in Japan yet. And Japan loved Michael Jackson. And they have been slow rolling the marketing for this in Japan. And I've been watching it over the past few weeks. And they had the Japanese premiere last weekend. But they are excited. And it's expected, I think, to maybe do... I know I need to look up the numbers, but 10 to 20, that's like a big broad range during its opening weekend at Japan. But Japan is expected to continue to carry this film over the finish line. It just went on digital this past week, which I think was a bit short-sighted. So many people are seeing this movie and then going back and seeing this movie again and again. And I think they could have held out the digital release until summer was over. When you have something, and that's what Bohemian Rhapsody did. I mean, that was a while ago, but when you have something so good and there's so much momentum, I mean, this is nearly 2 months since the release, and it's still, even in my small theater that only usually plays a handful of movies, Michael is still one of those. And it doesn't have just one, it has about 3 showings a day. So I'm a big fan of the Michael movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it before it gets out of theaters. They brought it back from IMAX. They brought it back into IMAX, which I loved. I didn't get to see it in IMAX, but I was telling everyone, if you have the chance to see this movie, see it in the largest screen possible, and then also with the best sound system possible, right? So, okay, I just wanted to kind of show the Michael, was released April 24th, was really great. You know, it owned for the first week, number one, did nearly 40 million, 32, 25. So just this fantastic. And this was a film that no one wanted to touch. These are all things that I'll talk about in my review, but no one wanted to touch this movie for various reasons. And Lionsgate ultimately took it. And now this is the largest Lionsgate release, beating any of their Hunger Games, any of their Twilight films. This is it. So no pun intended. So I'm just rooting for this movie. Jafar Jackson. He never acted before. This is his title role, not title role, but his first role. I would just love to see this one do $1 billion, just because that just shows a lot of hope for the box office and what we're going to see. Now, if you have comments, we have a comment. If you have comments, let me know. I'm going to show them and we're going to talk about it. So let's see. Jeremiah says, I didn't dress up, unfortunately, but I did wear my Digital Circus shirt to the theater. Others dressed up, and I saw 2 Pomni, I'm saying this wrong, I know I am, Pomni dolls. As you said, it's very fandom-driven property. Okay, I'd love to have you send a voicemail about this. We can talk about this in the episode. Yeah, and that's what I love. I think, there still is there's space for physical releases. And again, I just had a conversation with someone just today, and we were going back and forth. They were convinced that theaters are going the way of the dinosaur. And I'm like, I just don't believe that. I simply don't believe that, based on what I'm seeing happening. Fandoms coming out, showing up for their favorite movies. I've been on X, kind of have fallen into the Michael Jackson rabbit hole, where it thinks I'm like this super fan. And, the actual super fans are like, yeah, I've seen it 11 times, 14 times. So, like, it has legs very much for fans. And with this movie, I think it's just an amazing opportunity, because people want to go and experience their things in person. I think, not everyone, but I think that there is something to be said with building community, even if it's a community of strangers. Hey, we all like this thing, or we hope we're going to like this thing. If it's a movie, maybe, you don't know. But we think this is going to be good, and we're going to have a communal experience watching the movie together, right? And so, yeah. So I love that. So yeah. So going back to the Michael, I mean, it's still chugging along, doing 1 to 1.5 million every day. On the weekends it gets that bump. So it's been 2 months, and it still hasn't even fallen below doing less than $1 million in a day. So if you have thoughts or comments, let me know. We'll talk about them. Let me have a drink real fast while I've been talking a while. My green screen's acting up and I have a green tint to my hair. I need to fix it. You don't want to see what is behind this room. This is very scary. It is turned into a junk room, and I'm my goal this summer is to fix it up so I have a better live stream setup, so that way I don't have to use the green screen. But I'm using the Powerline stage because it has these green lights right here, and so I'm just pretending these are the stage lights shining on my hair that's turning it green. Jeremiah says, curious to hear your take on Masters of the Universe. People seem lukewarm about it. I think I speak for many when I have no attachment to the original property. Yeah, so this is interesting. Chelsea, I said, hey, let's do Michael because she and I saw it together. We should have recorded then and there and done a car recording. We didn't, but we're going to do it now. And then I said, hey, like you pick and choose what you want to do for our next one. And she said, well, I have some friends. We're going to go see my Masters of the Universe this weekend. You want to do that? I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, it's based on this animated property, so it fits. But I don't know if I think she mentioned this, but she very much has an attachment to Masters of the Universe and to He-Man. I remember Christmas one year in college, I got her all of the He-Man DVDs and she just went bonkers over it. She loved it. You know, she grew up with He-Man, she and her brothers. I didn't. I know about He-Man. I know about the He-Man memes. I'm enough aware of He-Man, and I maybe seen a few episodes, but I think I'm like in between the two of you, Jeremiah and Chelsea. Like I don't consider myself a fan, but I'm open to it. I didn't see the She-Ra film or the Netflix She-Ra that came out. So, I mean, I'm really kind of going to go into this blind. People are saying, oh, it's the biggest bomb of the year, He-Man. But I don't know. Like, okay, so last weekend, it went against Scary Movie, and that was just getting crazy publicity and buzz. It's surprising that to me, as someone who's never seen any of the Scary Movie films, that it's still doing so well, or as an initial release. But Master of the Universe, does it show its budget on here? It has a pretty hefty budget. I want to say it's like $150 to $200 million. And again, we're learning in modern times, like, do we need that with Backroom and Obsessions, these other films that are they're able to do pretty fine on these low budgets? Do we need every film to be at 200 million? Because it really sets yourself up for failure. There's a website I need to show, and when next time I do this, I'll find it. But you're able to see the break even for films, and you can like kind of pencil it in and estimate, what do you think the marketing was going to be? Because, you know, I mean, we'll talk about, oh, it made back its production budget, but that doesn't account that the theaters take 50%. If it goes to China, the theaters end up taking like 75%. Then there's marketing and all these other costs. So it really takes a lot. You know, if you're a $200 million movie, you really need to do 500 to 600 million to even break even. So this one, all the reviews that I saw from people this was a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. It's not what you expect. They actually, Rachel Wagner from Rachel's review, she says it feels sort of like early MCU comedy and hitting all those beats, and in a good way, in a very, very good way. If you love early MCU, you're going to love this. And so I'm looking forward to that, seeing that. So it did 11 million, 10 million, 7, 2, 2, 3. So yeah, will this one climb back out? I mean, already in its first week, it's doing number 4 for the day. And so let's say we have Scary Movie. Yeah, there's just so many good movies right now, there's a lot to see. So yeah. Alrighty. Any other questions or thoughts while I'm here? I just wanted to jump on a quick little live stream and get the wiggles out. I want to do more live streams. And I've really gotten in my head, like I haven't been on camera in such a long time, and I haven't done live streams. And so I'm not going to do them until like everything's totally perfect and ready. And then today I had some time. I was alone. And I said, you know what? Do the live stream. Let's just do the live stream. I've been thinking about box office, wanting to talk about it. So I'm going to be trying to do more live streams as we come. So yeah, so for future episodes, we're going to be doing we're going to do Michael first, then Masters of the Universe. Then after that, Toy Story 5 comes out this upcoming weekend. So we'll definitely be doing Toy Story 5. Should I see the Digital Circus? I feel like I'd have to go and see the other ones. Is it a big time commitment? Let me know. I don't know. Jeremiah says, I will gladly leave a voicemail for the Amazing. Is it the Amazing Digital Circus? I already am forgetting the name. Rarely have I been so happy to get an assignment. You know me, I love to give people jobs. I agree about theaters building community, and I do love theaters. I had someone, they were like, it's a scary world out there. People just want to stay safe in their homes. I'm like, what? Like, I get it. There are some places that aren't necessarily the safest, but I was like, I don't believe that. I definitely disagree with that comment. So I feel so happy at my theater. I talked about how I had done the Lord of the Rings, which I'm shocked they're not going to be bringing that back. But Fathom Events did the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and you went Fridays to see the Fellowship of the Ring, Saturday to see the Two Towers, and Sunday to see the finale with the Return of the King. And I loved it. I went with my mom. We had a great time. And even though I didn't go with a good big group, I knew that the group that I was with, they got it. Like, you don't just show up for these things 3 days in a row unless we're all vibing on Lord of the Rings. And we all loved it. We've all owned these movies and watched them a million times before. It was just such a fun time. And I do think that theaters are trying to make things more accessible. I think accessible meaning they're trying to make it enticing for people to come to the theaters again. I think the big thing over the past 10 years was the transition from people moving to the reclining seats. And I don't know necessarily if that really did it for people. I think initially it did. And people were like, ooh, luxury. But at some theaters I go to, the luxury vinyl is starting to wear off and get a bit thin. That's a heavy replacement. Before, you would just reupholster a chair. Now you have to reupholster this lounger recliner thing. I don't know. And I have seen that the new theaters that are putting them in, no more is it the giant wide load lane where you can just like snuggle up and lay down. Now it seems that the recliners they're putting in are as close to a original, like a normal seat as possible, just it reclines and it's leather. I will say, should I mention this? I don't know. I have a friend who their dad does pest control, and there was a theater here in town that definitely had a bed bug problem. But this was back when bed bugs became a thing. Was this like early 2010s, 2015? But it had a bed bug problem. That's because the headrests are, I don't even want to talk about it, but it's fabric. But I have not heard that being a thing. I think that got eradicated, but I guess maybe that's why they're moving to the leather. I don't know. So yeah. But now I see that more theaters, they're doing bars in the theater. I think Alamo Drafthouse really kind of pushed that, where people wanted to, make more of it. It's not just movie and popcorn. They wanted movie and a drink and some popcorn. And then they even more, you have the theaters where you can have food. I go to a variety of theaters that are just kind of bare bones, theaters that are the full thing. We're going to serve you a meal. We're going to, wine and dine you while you're there. And then others just in between. And my one theater in between, it's a theater chain here in Arizona and Utah. It's called Fat Cats. They have the reclining seats. That was about it. But this past few months, they've introduced where they're going to deliver food to you. So you have to order ahead of time on the app, and then they'll deliver it to you. So the theaters are accommodating. They're really trying to make this so people will want to come. They'll want to stay. Again, another thing with this is the $5 Tuesdays that a lot of theaters do. I love $5 Tuesdays. And everyone I talk to, they're like, I go to the movies because of $5 Tuesdays. So if $5 Tuesdays can get people back in the habit of seeing movies again in theaters and then getting comfortable in that experience, I think it's all good. And I was talking to my sister, and she was like, I love going to theaters. Free AC in Arizona, okay, it's hot everywhere. What are you going to do? We're going to go swim again for the 14th time today? Or, hey, let's go enjoy a movie at the theater because it's 110 degrees. And I'm not even joking. It was 108 yesterday. All right. Let's see. We have Dream Walking. You should indeed see The Amazing Digital Circus. Okay, I'm going to say this 5 times. The Amazing Digital Circus. Okay, one time I got it. It's only 8 half-hour episodes. 7 of you wait to see the penultimate one in theater. Okay, 7 if you wait. Okay, perfect. So it's manageable. It's not like the old school things where we had 22 episodes in a season. I'm rewatching Seinfeld right now, and I do love a 22 episode season of stuff. It just makes it so enjoyable. Plus the finale. Okay, so sorry, I just went in tangent in the middle of your comment. I'm so sorry. I consider it very enjoyable. I want to see this. So I want to see, I'm going to do it. I'm committing to watch this. I mean, just a few episodes here and then go see it, support it in theaters, and then talk about it. I'll have to bring someone on to talk about it because I don't know if I could get Chelsea to commit. And yeah, Jeremiah has the same. He says, it's not a huge commitment. There are only 7 episodes prior to the 2 released in theaters. They're only about half hour each. Easy. Okay. Jeremiah says, while I love theaters, I actually think we need to let go of the idea of streaming is less prestigious than theaters. He's cutting me. He knows that that's my thing. It's just a different experience. My thing is, why the rush? Why do we need to rush to go see, to get everything to digital? These, especially, I get it. They want to get their money back. They're like, crap, this bombed in theaters. We need to get this back onto streaming as soon as possible. But I missed the 90-day window. I think if we could go back to the 90-day window before the digital, it'd make me happy. But I'm not in charge. Did you see the Gatto teaser? This is Nicholas Schulman, 7222. I did see the Gatto. I was a little underwhelmed. I commented on X. I said, this is the best clip they had to show. I don't know. It just feels, I saw it and I said, okay, that's something, but it doesn't make me so excited. Like, yes, Pixar's back. We need to see this again. What were your thoughts? Let me know. Jeremiah says, I was thinking about it and I came up with this analogy. People seem to think theaters are more prestigious because you have to go out of your way to see the film. You have to prioritize it enough to go see it. But I don't think books are lesser because we can read them literally anywhere we want. You don't need to go out of your way to read a book. You can read it in the comfort of your home. Yeah, true. I just think I like the idea that we need to be more not in public, but just get out of our homes a little bit more than we have. I think we've gotten really comfortable just living in our own little bubbles and not interacting with people and just not even seeing other humans if we desire. So yeah, but yeah, it's not necessarily less prestigious. It's just a different medium, as Brad Bird likes to talk about with animation. Animation is not a genre. It's just a different medium. So you watch it at home, you watch it at the theater. I'm excited I don't usually buy a lot of Blu-rays nowadays, but I will be buying the Blu-ray for Michael. And I am buying it for Super Mario Galaxy. And the reason I buy the Blu-ray is because you get the free digital copy. And that's always handy to have. Yeah. So, okay. Any other thoughts? Yeah, Gatto. How are we saying it? Gatto. When is the release date for that? Let me look this up real quick. Gatto release date. March 5th. Okay. So it's in the Hoppers slot, the May time slot. Or March. Yeah, I don't know. I did speaking of it, I did like the art style. It feels different for once for Pixar. We're getting something new, something different. And I want to just see more. Not that the teaser made me want to see more. The teaser didn't do that, but I want to see more because I think there's something cool there. And this teaser trailer just really didn't do that for me. All right. So if there's no more thoughts, I'm going to end it. Make sure to send us your voicemails. We're going to be talking about Michael. If you have any thoughts on Michael, send those. We will be recording tomorrow, I believe. So rotoscopers.com/voicemails or 406-646-6575. I need to have a little banner where I can have this. And then we will be doing Masters of the Universe as well. And Toy Story 5. So whenever you see those, if you have thoughts on those, send in voicemails. We'll include them in the show. Send them sooner rather than later. And yeah. And then if you have thoughts on the box office, how the summer is going to go, just theaters in general, include those. I can do a little episode following up, maybe in a few months. Ooh, Jeremiah says, I am hyped for Ray Gunn. Brad Bird's repertoire, as strange as it to say this, is hit and miss. But I love the concept of the film. And obviously, as long ago as The Incredibles came out, we are forever indebted to him for that film. Exactly. I went to Disneyland about 2 weeks ago and went on the Incredicoaster, which obviously is just a reskin, but just being in the world of the Incredibles and those characters, it was just so fun. I was like, Brad Bird, love you. You're a great guy. Yeah, Ray Gunn. When we did our preview for 2026 animated films, we didn't have a date yet. And we said, I knew that test screenings had happened and audience screenings had happened. So I'm like, I'm just going to place a bet that sometime this will be released. And I think and I'm excited to see this one happen. It's just, Brad Bird is great. He's Iron Giant, one of my favorite films, Ratatouille, The Incredibles. What more is there to love, right? So, and this is like his hobby horse. This is one that he's really wanted to do for a long time. So I'm wishing great things for Ray Gunn. So, okay, send us all your voicemails. And if you like this, let me know in the comments of once this goes live in the YouTube video. I want to try to do this once a week. So if we maybe have like a topic that we can talk about, or we can just talk box office, we can just do questions. I just want to get back in the habit of streaming and doing that. So thanks for being with me as I got all my wiggles out. And Jeremiah says, bye, Morgan. Thanks for doing this. It was fun. I hope you start streaming more. Cheers. Me too. So with that, I'll see you later.